Welcome to our podcast, Healing Hearts and Minds. I'm your host, Monica, and today we're discussing a crucial topic for survivors of narcissistic abuse: how to destroy a narcissist and reclaim your life. Elias, what's the first step survivors should take to destroy the narcissist and break free from a narcissist's control?
The first and most crucial step is to prioritize yourself and your needs. This might sound simple, but for survivors of narcissistic abuse, it's often a monumental shift. Focusing on yourself makes narcissists miserable, and understanding this can aid in the healing process.
Can you elaborate on why this is so challenging for survivors?
Absolutely. In a narcissistic relationship, you're essentially programmed to do two things: abandon yourself and prioritize the narcissist. It's like you've been living in a house where all the mirrors are turned to reflect the narcissist, and you've forgotten what you look like. Survivors often struggle to even recognize their own needs because they've been conditioned to focus solely on the narcissist's demands. It's as if they've been wearing noise-canceling headphones that block out their inner voice. Survivors start to remove those headphones and hear themselves again. It starts with small steps. Begin by asking yourself daily, what do I need right now? It could be as simple as needing a glass of water or a moment of quiet. The key is to acknowledge these needs and act on them without guilt. Remember, taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's essential. Think of it like putting on your own oxygen mask before helping others on a plane. You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's excellent advice. What's the next step in breaking free from narcissistic control?
The second step is to follow your passions. Narcissists often try to dim your light because they can't stand not being the brightest star in the room. They may have criticized your hobbies, belittled your talents, or made pursuing your interests so difficult that you gave up.
Can you give us an example of how this might play out?
Sure, let's say you're a talented painter. The narcissist might have constantly criticized your work, compared you unfavorably to other artists, or created chaos every time you tried to paint. Over time, you might have stopped painting altogether to avoid the conflict and pain.
That's a beautiful analogy. What's the third step in this process?
The third step is to speak your truth. In a narcissistic relationship, your voice is often silenced. You learn to question your own thoughts and feelings because the narcissist constantly gaslights and manipulates you.
How can survivors start to reclaim their voice?
It's a gradual process. Start by journaling your thoughts and feelings without censorship. This helps you reconnect with your inner voice. Then practice expressing small opinions in safe environments. Remember, speaking your truth doesn't mean being confrontational. It's about honoring your perspective and experiences. It's like tuning a radio to your own frequency after years of only hearing static.
That's a powerful image. What's the fourth step in breaking free from narcissistic control?
The fourth step is to assert your independence. Narcissists often create a web of dependence, emotional, financial, or otherwise, to maintain control.
How can survivors start to break free from this web?
It's about reclaiming your autonomy in all areas of life. Start by making small decisions for yourself without seeking approval. Work on becoming financially independent if possible. Build a support network outside of the narcissist. Think of it like a bird learning to fly after being caged. It might be scary at first, but with each attempt, you'll gain confidence and soar higher.
Elias, why is it important for survivors to understand what makes narcissists uncomfortable or upset?
That's an excellent question, Monica. Understanding what makes narcissists uncomfortable isn't about seeking revenge or trying to hurt them. Instead, it's about recognizing the narcissist's vulnerabilities and triggers. This knowledge can be empowering for survivors, helping them understand the dynamics of their past relationship and aiding in their healing process. When you understand what makes a narcissist tick, you gain insight into their behavior patterns. This can help validate your experiences and reduce self-doubt, which is crucial for healing. It's like having a map of a maze you've been trapped in. Suddenly, the twists and turns make sense and you can see the way out more clearly. The first and perhaps most significant thing that makes narcissists miserable is a lack of acknowledgement. Narcissists crave attention, like a plant craves sunlight. They simply can't thrive without it. Imagine a narcissist comes home and starts talking about their day. They expect you to drop everything, listen attentively, and shower them with praise. If, instead, you continue with what you were doing and only offer a brief, "That's nice," they might become visibly agitated or even throw a tantrum. It's important to note that for narcissists, even negative attention is preferable to no attention. That's why the gray rock method, where you become emotionally unresponsive, can be so effective but also potentially dangerous if not done carefully.
That's fascinating. What's another thing that tends to make narcissists uncomfortable?
Narcissists are often unsettled when people speak factually rather than emotionally. They're masters of manipulation and emotional exploitation. But facts, those are much harder for them to twist. For example, let's say a narcissist is late for a dinner date. When confronted, they might launch into an emotional tirade about how hard their day was, how much stress they're under, and how unfair it is that you're upset with them. If instead you calmly state, "We agreed to meet at 7, it's now 8, and you didn't call to say you'd be late," they often don't know how to respond. It's like they're playing an emotional game of chess, and suddenly you've introduced checkers rules. It throws them completely off balance. Another thing that narcissists typically hate is any form of authority. They believe they're above rules and answerable to no one but themselves. You might notice that the narcissist in your life has trouble holding down jobs, frequently conflicts with teachers or supervisors, or even has run-ins with law enforcement. They often view rules as mere suggestions that don't apply to them. Think of a narcissist as a toddler in an adult's body. Just as a 2-year-old might throw a tantrum when told it's bedtime, a narcissist might rage against a work deadline or speed limit. They simply can't fathom why they should have to follow rules that inconvenience them. Next is the narcissist being told no and having that no enforced. Narcissists are used to getting their way, often through manipulation or force. When someone stands firm in their refusal, it can send a narcissist into a tailspin.
Can you walk us through how a narcissist might react to being told no?
Certainly, let's say you tell a narcissist no when they ask to borrow money. They might first try to charm you into changing your mind. If that doesn't work, they might attempt to guilt you, saying things like, "After all I've done for you, you can't do this one thing." If that fails, they might become angry, calling you selfish or uncaring. The narcissist simply cannot compute that their desires aren't being met. The next thing that makes them uncomfortable is that they don't like telling them you will act differently the next time. Imagine you've set a boundary with a narcissistic partner, saying you won't tolerate them yelling at you. The next time they yell, you calmly state, "I asked you not to yell at me. I'm going to leave the room now, and we can continue this conversation when you're calm." They hate that. Another thing narcs do not like is losing at anything. Narcissists have an intense need to be seen as superior, so losing at anything, a game, an argument, a competition at work, can be devastating to them. It's like watching a child flip a board game when they're losing, except it's an adult doing it in real life situations. They might say things like, "Well, I wasn't even trying," or "This game is stupid anyway." They simply cannot tolerate the idea of not being the best. Also, narcissists generally dislike 99% of other people. They have very high standards for others while excusing their own behavior. Narcissists often have very few genuine friendships. They're quick to criticize and slow to forgive. It's like they're constantly auditioning people for roles in their life, and almost everyone fails to meet their impossible standards. This is why narcissists often seem to have a new best friend or romantic partner every few months. They idealize people quickly, but discard them just as fast when they inevitably fail to live up to the narcissist's unrealistic expectations. The last thing, and the thing that bothers them the most, is when you become independent and you find your old self. Narcissists hate the idea that you might remember who you were before you met them, or that you might see through their manipulation. For a narcissist, controlling your perception of reality is crucial. They want you to see the world, and especially them, through their eyes. When you start to regain your own perspective, it's like you're dismantling the carefully constructed reality they've built. Imagine a magician whose audience suddenly sees through all their tricks. That's how threatening your clarity is to a narcissist. Narcissists resist change that's not initiated by them, especially when it involves you becoming more independent or assertive. They might try to undermine your confidence, sabotage your efforts, or even love bomb you to regain control. It's like they're the director of a play, and suddenly one of the actors is going off script. They'll do whatever they can to bring the performance back under their control.
Thank you so much for watching. Join us in the next episode. Created by Elias Stasinos. If you liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe.